Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 973, FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined today by JD Rader, Ben Askren, and Shane Sparks. And somebody call 911. We're going to have a fire drill at 9:30 here in Austin. That's why we're starting a little bit early so that we can flee the scene. It would be kind of funny if they did it early and we just left for like 15, 20 minutes. But we have to go
You're
down.
Gonna leave me and Shane's going to be on here doing whatever the hell we want, and you won't be able to stop us.
I know. It'll be horrifying. But anyway, we are here to talk about wrestling. Of course, on Monday we had David Taylor on. That was fantastic. We did not get to talk a ton about the happenings of last week, and I'm hoping we can kind of meld a little bit of what happened last week into the upcoming wrestling for this week, of which there is a ton to look forward to. Some that we haven't even been able to,
this weekend's better than last weekend, for sure.
Yes, certainly better. But first, let's check in with Shane. Shane, how are you?
Doing well, guys. Good to see all you guys, and looking forward to this show today. A lot of topics, a lot of stuff to talk about today. Probably, unfortunately, not a lot of time to talk 80s music. Today's not that show.
No, you better not.
This is not the day. I don't want to get to rehash too much of the gambling stuff, other than to say the NCAA ruling came out. It looks, according to the Hawk Central article from Chad Leistokow, it's going to be Nelson, Seabricht, Assad, and Cassiope that are impacted, likely out for the year, I believe was what was said in there. So a huge blow to the Hawks. Particularly, and I think the biggest blow is no Cassiope. I think every other need they can kind of piecemeal together, but not having, because they could use Gabe Arnold at 174. They still have Patrick Kennedy, but heavyweight, you're hoping Ben Keeter's ready to go year one after a year of playing football. So it's a huge blow for Iowa and.
And my fantasy team, because I had Nelson Brands in the 7th round. I thought it was a good value pick in case he comes back.
Yeah.
Nope.
And he has 1 year left. I mean, he has 2 years left, correct? So he can come back next year?
Next year. They should just be like, all right.
Assuming he gets approved for medical.
He's got to get approved for the medical. They'd be like, all right, just approve my medical. Let me do it now and get on with my life. But that's not going to be the case. He's got to do his suspension, I'm sure.
It's also interesting. Brands said he told Keeter and the football team, he's yours until after the bowl game.
Yeah.
Which means not until January. And then he's just returning to the mat practicing in late December, early January.
Yeah.
So
Let me throw this out there, guys. I know we don't want to belabor this, but I just got to be thinking about this, and I don't know. But they can use him in a handful of duels. The bottom line is they want to keep his red shirt, correct, or not necessarily?
I don't know.
Depends on
Keeters?
Because the reason I bring this up, guys, and again, I'm probably talking too much here, but against some of these top guys in the country, I don't know if I'd burn him on those matches.
Yeah, I think the only way they're going to do it is if they actually think he can go get points at NCAAs.
Yeah,
They're gonna get five uses out of him, and if he's not available until January, February, they may not have to make the decision until right before Big Tens.
And it probably depends on where he's at, how he does in those handful of competitions.
There will be a decent evaluation. The challenge will be, ideally, you get him in a tournament somewhere to really see, instead of just using a duel as the sole determining factor. If you get him in a tournament, the problem is in January, February, March, there's not a lot of them. The Soldier Salute's in December, and I don't know if that's even the thing that is really a good barometer for someone the caliber of Ben. So
he's going to get 5 duels, and then there's no way he's going to get an auto qualifier spot because he won't have the minimum amount of matches. But maybe if you say, like, he beats Lucas Davison, you're like, okay, he's ready. He beat Lucas Davison. Let's throw him in there, right?
Yep, exactly.
Put together Hawkeye Last Chance Open?
Yeah, maybe they host one of those. That'd be
3
fun.
Weekends in a row, JD.
Take a note from their brothers and names.
Yeah, brothers and names. Terry Brands, basically vowing to combat the NCAA until they get I think, more current on their rules. He's not holding anything back at this point. Actually, he probably is. This is probably
subdued,
a filtered version.
They don't like tough wrestling.
No, who, the NCAA?
Yeah,
they don't. Not in
dirty
Speaking of tough
politics.
wrestling, are we gonna talk about that Cael Sanderson interview? Because that was kind of fun.
Yeah, what'd you think? I sent it to y'all this morning to make sure you check it out. I thought it was good. Penn State Media Day was yesterday. We have an article about it. But yeah, I thought it was great.
No, there's kind of obviously a lot of things to dissect about what he said.
Well, we should say what he said first before we.
Yeah.
Well, it was a lot. It was, I'm here to coach my guys and not not worry about the impact on the sport. Then he was talking about the rules and how he wants. Sorry,
I would say that's not a fair characterization. He said basically what he said is. It's not that I don't care. He didn't say at all that he doesn't care about the sport. He said basically he focuses on his team and the impact that his team, he believes, he said it without saying it, the impact this team and the wrestlers have had on sport wrestling has been positive about, he's like, it's changed the attitudes. You hear a lot more about gratitude.
But I feel like he said that later. I feel like in the beginning he said, my goal is to get my guys really good, and that's what my main focus is. And then later he did say...
But then he connected it. But he connected it. I thought he was
being gratitude in the training. That was early. The gratitude in the training was pretty early, right?
100%. So, anyways, proceed.
Okay, and then he was talking about the rules, and he said he thinks there should be less rules, and he thinks that essentially the essence of wrestling is takedowns, control, and pinning, and that if someone, he kept using ankle grab, if someone's grabbing your ankle and you can't get up because of it, then that's kind of your fault, and you need to get better at wrestling. And so, I guess that's kind of the point I think that we should debate or talk about. I think it could be potentially incredibly boring, but then I look at, say, jiu-jitsu, and they have these really long-form 20, 30-minute matches, which don't have a lot of stoppages or tons of rules, I guess you'd say. And then MMA, there's a big thing in MMA where like the bottom guy shouldn't get stood up. And it happens once in a while where there's like a stalemate and they'll put them back on their feet, and a lot of people hate it because the idea is, well, if you can't get back to your feet, you can't get back to your feet. That's your problem. So then I think of the idea, kind of what Cael was saying. Well, man, that would be painful to watch though if you had a 10-minute unlimited time limit and you got a takedown in the first 30 seconds and then you just rode the dude for 9.5 minutes. I don't know. I freaking love wrestling, but I don't know if I'd want to watch it.
Ben, let me ask you this, because this is super interesting that you happen to be on this call.
Yeah.
And we'll dive into this more, but off the surface, I mean, that was you a lot of times in MMA, and that was like, I felt like that, Askren's just going to sit and ride him. Well, that's what makes him great.
I actually literally addressed this last weekend because the guy that was in the main event against Derek Lewis, it was weird, big, strong guy, couldn't punch worth a damn. Like, took him down, and I think he was on top for 22 of 25 minutes. And I actually said on Twitter, in my fights 4 through 10, I just hadn't figured it out yet. So I was on top like the whole time, but I couldn't choke him and I couldn't punch him very well, right? But then in fight 11, I figured it out, and from fight 11 to fight 18, so I think that's 8 fights or 9 fights, I finished every single person except one, right? So I finally figured out how to punch him, and so that was like but yeah, I get it. It absolutely was boring, but I was doing the best of my ability to win the fight. And then I figured out how to do it better and more efficiently. And I would, if someone said I didn't enjoy watching fights 4 through 10 of yours, I would say, well, I understand. I understand what you're saying fully. So, but I think Cael was making the argument like, who cares if people don't want to watch that? He said, and I think he was kind of saying like, well, there's a niche audience and they're going to watch it kind of no matter what. I don't know. Was that what? Did you guys feel that's what he was saying?
A little bit.
I did not.
I mean, I have a take on it.
Go for it.
Look at the most popular sports right now. Football, basketball, baseball. All of them are catering towards a better fan viewing experience. And I kind of push back on the less rules. Look at football, the most popular sport in America, probably the world. It is so complicated to watch if you have never watched it, with all the illegal holdings, illegal formations, this and that. There are so many more rules in football, and everybody just accepts it and watches it, and it's pushing more towards offense. It's kind of a complaint right now that, like, defense is going away because they realize that it is a better fan viewing experience to reward more points, more offense. So I don't really have an issue with it to just be like, well, yeah, get out, do the hard thing because it will make you a better person, which is kind of what Cael was getting at too. Sure, but if you want to make the experience better for the fan, you're going to have to take a little bit away from that.
Well, I think he didn't say this, but what could easily be said if offense and high-scoring things are like, who's producing more high-scoring, exciting wrestlers than Penn State right now? So it's like, all right, if that's the issue, well, that's not the – he's probably just looking internally like, that's not our problem generally. We're scoring a lot of points.
Well, he did take exception to the ankle ride.
Yeah, he didn't like that.
Which is Penn State has notoriously done that well the past couple of years.
But it's actually not the ankle ride. It's not sitting on the ankle. It's only hand to ankle.
Yes. Yep.
So it's not even that. I would say I don't think they're trying to get rid of mat wrestling. He loves the 3-point takedown, as do I, and not Shane.
I thought that was funny because the whole time he kept saying they're trying to diminish the role of mat wrestling. He kept saying it over and over again. And then
I was surprised when he said that.
But the 3-point takedown is awesome, which I thought, well, man, I thought it sounded like the whole interview you're saying you don't like the fact that they're diminishing mat wrestling. And then he said the 3-point takedown is awesome, which is the rule that is, in fact, diminishing mat wrestling. So that kind of threw me off a little bit.
Well, I don't think, I have not ever understood why anyone thinks that a takedown being worth more makes mat wrestling so significantly devalued. Hold on, one other thing. Here's what he means. He's like, one, you're eliminating a weapon for the top guy of the ankle ride, and two, you're saying this guy has got to be working for a pin at all times. Those two rules in conjunction are making it so you are giving an advantage to the bottom wrestler. Like that's what he's saying. You're taking away a weapon and you're making this guy have to be looking a certain sort of using a certain strategy. So that was his point.
Okay, but the obvious there is that with a takedown and a reversal being worth different amounts now, they used to be worth the same, right? Mm-hmm. So now if I take you down and you reverse me, I'm actually still winning, and we would have previously been tied, right? Yes. So that's a negative towards mat wrestling. And then number two would be the takedown to escape differential. If, say, you're a Jake Patrick or you're super good on top, and you get one turn worth, we'll say even a 4-pointer, right? Previously, I would have had to make up that with a whole bunch of takedowns, and now I can make it up with 2 takedowns because there's a 2-point differential between a takedown and escape. So I think you do diminish mat wrestling. Like previously, if you would have been down by a whole bunch of points in the third period, the hope of going cut escape when you're down by 4 or 5 is like kind of impossible. The only way you could probably do this is turn him over and then pin him, or something like that. Yeah. So I do think it absolutely diminishes mat wrestling.
Of course it does, guys. I mean, of course it does. And yeah, the biggest thing that I have in this whole deal is this false narrative that taking somebody down is 3 times harder than escaping. I mean, that is such garbage. It's not true. And the other thing
I think it's probably true.
No, Christian, the reason this happens is because a lot of times when somebody gets an escape, it's because they're cut. It's because somebody chose to punt on the position. When guys sit and ride, guys, let's be honest, that's the whole reason that we're here. Because people didn't want to see the mat wrestling, which is fine. If you don't like it, that's fine. But it's because it's hard to get out from on bottom. When somebody in college, I've had this conversation in the last 3 or 4 days with Dwayne Goldman and most recently with Nick Lee. It is hard to get out from on bottom when a guy commits to ride you. And for that to be 1 point is nothing. It's harder than 1 point. It's not a third of a takedown. No way, guys. No way.
I think it absolutely is.
What's happened here is what I don't like is let me have the right, like Ben said before, like going back to his MMA stuff. At that time, that was his path to victory. That was his path to victory. Everybody should be able to pick your path, what you want to do, and not like
Escape your way to victory?
Speaking in circles here,
is that the path?
An escaping 1 point and a takedown being 3, the ratio's out of whack. It was just fine before. It was just fine. We all know this, guys. It came down to stall calls getting called. If referees would have been more aggressive in the stall calls, everything's fine. That was the fix. 3-point takedown, guys. It's okay. It's okay. I don't love seeing. And again, we'll see. I'm going to give it a chance. But some of these matches are like, they get out of hand quick. I don't know if I like that.
No, I actually like. That's the part I actually like. That's the positive. Which you could have done the same thing by decreasing the tech and major. But I said on Monday, that's the best part of it.
Yeah.
Cael actually tossed out the idea of no stalling.
Yeah.
At all.
David Taylor has mentioned that multiple times. Also.
Wait, what?
Get rid of stalling altogether. No stalling.
I'm okay if they didn't have it. You know what, guys? I got to say something right now. I on this show, I felt like a middle school kid at times, or high school. I've succumbed to the peer pressure a little bit.
What peer pressure?
It's my fault. I've succumbed to this, that I shouldn't be firm in the mat wrestling. I got to get back to my roots. I agree with when Cael was talking, I was like, man, he's exactly right. The answer to everything, guys, and I'm going to compare wrestling to society. The answer to everything is not getting easier. The answer to everything is not finding an easier way. And I agree with Cael or anybody. When you're on bottom, figure it out. Get better.
What about getting taken down and just turtling up for so long so you don't get turned?
Fetal position.
Then the period ends and boom.
That's
you're
on
back.
you.
You get a break.
I like the strategy of the mat wrestling. I think a lot of the strategy in
so
wrestling
if a guy were to
has been
turtle
taken
up,
away.
if that's
Cael
his
makes me wanna
strategy,
go back to pin or submit. Let's go. I wish. I'm so jealous of Gordon Ryan. I wish we had pin or submit in wrestling. 30 minutes, pin me or you can't.
Sometimes he does unlimited time.
Unlimited time even.
I don't know. I like
Christian's
stalling.
overwhelmed by Shane Sparks. Shane, I got to tell you, I got something to ask you. Can I ask you, Shane?
Oh man!
Someone recently shared your state finals with me, and you got robbed so hard. You got robbed. That was number one dog crap.
It might have been, but I got to tell you what, Ben, the wrestling. So here's what happened. That loss was pretty hard.
Yeah.
I never watched that for 20-some years, and when I watched it, so in my defense, I didn't really have coaching. I mean, I didn't really have coaching. I mean, and it was very evident watching that.
Self-made
when
man.
I went back and watched it, I was like,
but the ref robbed you. Shane, the ref gave you 4 stall calls. It was nonsense.
It was nonsense. It was nonsense. Now, the funny part with that is the guy that beat me, and the bottom line is it all worked out. But that guy, he ended up winning. That's Rudy Ruiz. He ended up winning 3. He went to Stanford, made the national tournament. He beat Kevin Black, who's Wisconsin's only 4-time undefeated Division I wrestler. And that summer, he beat Jody Stripmatter. So if you piece the puzzles together, man, can you imagine how bad I would have pounded on Stripmatter that year? I mean, I would have owned Jody. I would have owned him. That was a rough one. But there were a lot of things that, I learned a lot from that. Did a lot of things wrong. But that's funny you watch that. But the bottom line is the wrestling was a little rough.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the 90s, and that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
You watch even some really. Never mind. I'm not even gonna open that.
No, good. I watched the. I don't know why it came up, and one night I maybe I didn't have anything to do, and I don't remember. I was gonna search something on YouTube, and the first thing that popped up was like the 1996 or 97 NCAA finals. I don't recall which year it was, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch it. And I watched it at 1.5 speed, but I was like, damn, this is not good wrestling. Like, it's just so slow. I mean, just compared to the speed people are moving at these days and the fluidity, it was just different, way different.
I do appreciate you saying that, though, Ben. Thank you much. That was a.
I want to find that ref and yell at him. I was watching the match like, who is this ref? I'm going to yell at him right now.
And you want to know what the thing is, Ben? I've since gotten past it. Thankfully, it's the 30-year anniversary is this February, so it's time to move on for me. But I'll tell you what, I never wanted to. There was that loss. Oh my gosh! I mean, it did way. That was not. I didn't handle that right, and I'm glad I've never wanted to. I've never tried to seek out that ref. I'm over it now, but after a few years,
I want to seek him out. I want to yell at him.
I told myself, I'm like, you can't run into this guy because you just don't want to. Yeah, I just because that was something. But yeah, it all worked out.
Yeah, he had his mind made up. He did get.
Seriously.
It's on YouTube.
It's rough. The wrestling's that much better.
You got no. There are a few exchanges.
When I watched
like, right.
I didn't watch it for probably 25. I mean, I only watched it for the first time about 5 years ago, and I'm literally all I'm looking at is thinking to myself, how can you not beat a front headlock? Like, how do you not know how to execute it? But back then, we just didn't. Back then, it was Ben. You dive in. I mean, I would dive in, grab a leg, and I was just a little bit stronger, and I'd get it. I mean, that was it. That was the technique. Dive in and somehow finish it. Somehow, that was it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. We should talk. We have not talked about some of the upsets that happened last week. We got to get to some of the action that's coming up for this week. Few of the bigger upsets that went down, other than the Matt Ramos one, which we've already talked about.
Guys, that was shocking. I had to tell you guys that real quick. That, you guys, we talk about this. I'm going to tell you right now, that one was shocking to me.
The FloWrestling Slack was not shocked. When that match was set, there were multiple people that were like, this is a real match.
I was pretty surprised, actually. But that we didn't say, and this is, I don't know if this speaks to Matt Ramos maybe not being as good or the familiarity between those two, but then he lost to Braden Palmer in the finals, and Braden Palmer's he's tough, but he's not like an All-American type guy. I mean, maybe he's a sneak up closer there this year.
I think he is right now, Ben.
Well, we'll see, but that's like it's interesting because, and that's where we had that question, and I think someone re-asked it. Christian, is if those 3 high school kids were at 125, how many of them would All-American? And it's like, well, you see, yeah, they could beat the high end, but then maybe they also lose to Braden Palmer.
Yeah, they're. I mean, this is all about, and we talked about it more, I think, after the show at HQ. But this is just a perfect storm for a match like this to happen. Yeah. This does not happen. I think, Ben, you sort of alluded to it, but then if you look closely, this doesn't happen at any other weight class in NCAA wrestling. There's no scenario, the number 1 heavyweight, number 197, on and on and on, every weight. It's not even a thought. But 125 is, and we talked about this coming into the year, all at the end of last year, 125 is going to be kind of a mess this year. It doesn't have the Spencers or the Sorianos, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a combination of 125 is down. It is down. And we have some pretty unprecedented. We have like a kind of the next class of like the Soriano, Dayton, Spencer, Yanni kind of guys all around the same weight class in high school. Those kind of guys with Blaze, Knox, Forrest, Lilladal, kind of all in that same range. So it's a special group there. It's a weaker group, sort of a weaker than usual group at that weight, and it's sort of a perfect storm for a match like that to happen. But so that's what makes it so unprecedented and really unlikely to replicate again anytime soon. Even though these high school kids are not going to stop getting really, really good.
Yeah.
So
they're really competitive, and that's, I think it was at other weight classes, the high school kids could probably compete with, like, I don't know, like I'd put Aiden or Connor Mirasola against some of the medium ranked guys at 184, for example. And I would say, like, I think they have a reasonably good chance of winning, but probably not against the number 1s.
Right.
So I think if you move down there a little bit, there's a drop off, but against the other number 1s, I don't think it's happening.
Let's talk about Noah Mulvaney. Big win over Josh Ogunsanya. Junkyard Dog. Got to figure he's going to be going for the Bucknell Bison.
He's going.
He's going.
He's wrestling. He's wrestling at Legnick on Friday night.
Oh, wow.
Oklahoma State, yeah. So good
Big
test for him.
match.
And then he actually wrestles someone else good. Oh, he wrestles Hamidi in Wisconsin. So he's going to get a good test at the top of the field pretty quick.
I would say so. Some of the other upsets, Brandon Kaler goes down twice to Spencer Moore and Jet Strickenberger of UNC and West Virginia, respectively. Garrett Thompson over Peyton Hall, one of the more surprising
that's
upsets.
sad. Peyton Hall, he's got to find the form again.
Yeah, I just can't quite figure that out. Not a ton of others, other than Tay Godali of Campbell looks like he's going to be a really, really tough out this year. I don't know how high he'll wind up, but he looks like someone that could creep into the top 10 pretty quickly.
Yeah, I agree.
If you haven't watched him, pretty exciting style. He's kind of more of a taller, leaner heavyweight. Good movement. He's got a good variety of skills. He's a pinner too. Those were the kind of the major happenings of Spay's upsets article is a great resource so you can quickly get up to speed on what happened. But
the world's greatest blogger, by the way.
Oh yeah, the blog father.
Nobody blogs like Spay. He does a phenomenal job. And he's such a good guy, but he does a really good job.
No, he's actually not a good guy, but he is a great blogger.
Speaking of which, episode 973, the episode we're on, the Spay episode, because that's the area code he grew up in.
Oh my gosh, this is great. Let's eat a big sandwich in honor of him.
Hey, also, no one said we did not mention yet Cody Cleveland. Cody Cleveland. That's a throwback right there. Cody Merill to Oklahoma State.
Yes. Cody Merill to Oklahoma State. The connections are sort of obvious there with Daniel and Oklahoma State. Lineup synergy with him going 197.
Man, he's big. He's really big. He needs to get on a diet or he ain't going to be making 197 anytime soon.
He says he is.
There you go.
But yes, he is large. I assumed he was going to be heavyweight prior to.
That's what I kind of assumed. He looks big at who's number one.
He'll be a handful at 97 if he can make it effectively.
But the plan is for him to go 97 and Christian Carroll to go heavyweight in the future for the Cowboys.
Well, Carroll's not going down.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're really counting on Cody being basically a career 97 or for the vast majority of his career.
I got a hard time seeing that one.
Although, if you wrestle Carroll this year and next year, and you redshirt Merill next year, then it's maybe 1 year he would have to technically hold it.
Yeah.
Or two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Still. Anyway, keeping it moving. This is a huge week. Everyone knows I'm sort of partial to these Virginia Tech duels, but that's because they always have extremely exciting duel meets. They have a great duel schedule. They wrestle Ohio State every year, and it's awesome. And they wrestle NC State, and it's great. And yeah, and that's how it's the first big duel of the year yet again. And really, other than Iowa State, I think it's the biggest duel of the semester of this, November, December section. And we got two guys on the ground there. Tyler Meisinger and John Kozak are there. They've been there since Tuesday. I think they just wanted some extra Blacksburg time, if you ask me. Can't blame them. But they're there with Virginia Tech and be covering this duel thoroughly. So if you haven't seen, we got a ton of content out already from that. You should start seeing that on the homepage and the social channels. But let's get into this duel meet. I think it's going to be exciting. There's some questions now. I think the number one question is, will we see Carson Hartzler wrestle at 174? We watched him at Clarion, got his knee a little banged up. I don't know to the degree or the injury. I'm no doctor, but he was hobbling around and had to kind of gut out the end of that match. So do we see him, or do we see the debut, the varsity debut of Rocco Welsh at 174, who looks really good at Clarion?
Welsh looked pretty good at the Clarion Open.
And he is a guy, and this is why this rule is so great. It's so awesome getting to see these guys. You don't have to pull in someone. You can keep. It makes the duels better too. It's like not only is it help your team, you don't have Mekhi Lewis, stunting on a guy that is not going to be as good, not going to put up a competitive match. It's just a win across the board for all parties. So we might see him. I don't know. My gut, if you had made me guess, I think we do see Rocco in this scenario. I don't know that we'll see Carson, but that remains to be seen. Hopefully the boys can find that out on the ground, but I'm sure Ohio State's going to want to keep that under wraps right up until the time.
I don't know. Tom's pretty forthcoming.
He honestly is. I said that. He'll probably.
I mean, if anybody's going to tell you, it'll be him. Tom and Kevin Dresser's another one. I mean, he tells you exactly what he's thinking.
Yes. Certainly appreciate their candor always. But a few really big matches. And what do you want to just get to the picks?
Yeah, we should do the picks while we're doing this.
JD, why don't you tee this up a little bit? May explain what this is also.
So if you didn't listen to the show last season, we did a season-long running total. We did a bunch of picks. I set lines, like gambling lines, because if you just pick, will this guy beat this guy?
It's easy.
Yeah, a lot of times it's easy, but so we'll give the favorite, however many points or the public deems necessary.
Yeah.
We did 4 matches for this duel. All the matches are going to be pretty good, pretty tight, but kind of just for time's sake here, just probably four of the best matches are we picked. Or like didn't include 174 because not exactly sure
Smart.
who's going to go out there for the Buckeyes. So for this duel, I picked 133, 49, 57, and 285.
Guys, who's the reigning champion from last year? This is your guys'
thank you, Shane. Who is the reigning champion from last year, guys?
I want to know who the guy to beat is going into this season.
Who's the guy to beat?
It's barely Ben. Barely Ben. He edged me out.
I won. I forgot that I won last year.
You literally.
Ben, you know what you need to have happen here, guys?
Right here. They're trying to make me an award right there that says 2022, 2023 FRL Pick'em champion.
Yes,
and I'm
that's
still
what
waiting.
I was going to say. You need some kind of indication that when somebody's a new listener
right there
coming on the FRL, they know who the champ is.
They know. They were supposed to send me my award last April. It must have got lost in the mail. I don't know where it is. I still don't have it. Could you just, Christian, you know what? Why don't you just put in the chat, put your credit card number, and I'll get my own award bill.
Seth Mendoza was supposed to make it, but he got to on his recruiting tour and couldn't make it.
Hey, JD, just take Christian's credit card and take a picture of it for me.
And make sure you get the code on the back.
Put it in the chat.
You got to get that code
put it
on
in
the
the
back.
chat.
And the zip code, too. The zip code also.
And the zip code.
And those the 3-digit thing at the end.
Yep, got to make sure to include that. Plus zip.
And you know what else you need? You need some stickers made that everybody can put on the back of their laptop.
That'd be good too, right there. I should just not tell them. Just put Ben, picture of myself, Pick'em champion 2022, 2023.
There's a big year for you now. But now, Ben, you've been the hunter. Now you're the hunted. Now we're going to see how you respond with another title.
Actually, I have an idea. I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to surprise you guys next week. I know what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Got it.
That'll be funny. You know what? It's okay. You don't have to do it now. But for the future, it would be cool for like the big duels to have like the team lines too.
Put a team one in here.
Where?
I thought we had that on this.
Am I missing something?
Virginia Tech minus 6.5.
Team lines.
I guess I didn't put it in the sheet, but it's in the doc.
Oh, okay. I'm looking in the sheet. The sheet. Okay, got it. Okay, cool. Dang, Hokies are favorites. All right, perfect. Let's start. And what's going to be fun about the Pick'ems this year is, or fun or challenging, whatever you want to call it, the new takedown rules, you got to really recalibrate.
Who's going to get a major?
So much. It's like it's a totally new mathematics
scoring
for making your picks.
Well, but JD's also hasn't had time to do that in his own head yet also. So what I think is there's going to be a lot of overs on the favorites until JD recalibrates himself and his numbers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Proceed. You can drive this, James.
So we'll mention every match probable here, but we'll dive deep into the better ones. At 125, Eddie Ventresca versus Brendan McCrone for Ohio State. At 133, could be a fun one. Both these guys coming off kind of rocky week ones. Sam Latona versus Nick Bouzakis. I made Latona a 4.5-point favorite.
So the Latona losing the duel makes me worry that maybe it's a weight cut issue because he's been big before at 125. Maybe he's big again. Wisenhunt's kind of unproven. That being said, I don't think Bouzakis is that great, and his clearing open wasn't great. I think he's struggles on the mat. I think he's going to lose this match, but I think it's going to be closer than 4.5.
I kind of see. I mean, 2 takedowns to none is probably that's enough to cover, and I think that's pretty realistic. Yes. That's pretty realistic. I think Latona covers this line.
I'm going Latona 2. It's definitely a scenario where I could see Bouzakis being down by 3 points or something like that and trying to make up some ground. He likes to go big, lock up a body lock or something, and then end up getting taken down late, or maybe even go to his back, give up a couple back points. Would not surprise me. So I've got Latona winning by a large regular decision.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
I think
that 5 to 7 point.
I think Latona
range, maybe even an 8-point major.
I see him getting to his legs a lot, and I don't think that's Bouzakis's, strongest area, right? I think Latona's got a good feel there. I think Latona, I mean, we saw it with Gabe, like a good counter guy when you're on legs. That's how Latona lost to Wisenhunt.
He got put to his back.
He got counter scored off his own leg attacks. Bouzakis can put you on your back, but I don't think it's going to be from a leg attack. And I think Latona I think he can fire close to indiscriminately against Bouzakis and it'll be score or no score for him. So I don't feel that uncomfortable with it. Bouzakis does have the potential for a 7-pointer. If he can fire and get his hands around the body, he's freaky there for sure. But I think Latona, especially bounce back after the Wisenhunt match. This is a huge match for the duel. He's the vet. Bouzakis is the freshman.
Blacksburg.
Blacksburg.
Bouzakis wrestled in this duel last year against Tom Crook and did not look great.
Right, that was a 41. He did not have any losses at 33 last year.
But he did have 2 in week 1 at the Clarion Open. 1 by 7 points, 1 by 6 points to people who I would say are probably not on the level of Latona.
I would say they certainly aren't, for sure. So, does Shane do these?
I just sit back and listen. Interest of time, I listen to you guys break it down, and because I'm not part of the whole overall season, you guys just keep rolling. I like it's
All
fun.
right.
I'll be the mediator if anything gets out of hand.
Yeah, anything gets out of hand. I do think that's probably a good line. I think this line made me think too. Caleb Henson, a 2.5-point favorite over Dylan D'Amelio. But really, this is a 1 takedown to none match, and assuming they all escape, and I feel comfortable with that. I feel comfortable with that for Caleb. So
if it's a 1 takedown to none, but he gets to escape on the takedown, then it's 2 points. So he's got to takedown plus ride out or takedown.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Time.
He will need riding time. See, this is the recalibration process.
So I think Henson is going to cover this one. I got Henson to cover against D'Amelio. Who did D'Amelio? I watched him against someone last week.
Colin Guy. It was a good match.
Yeah, that one.
And he won at Clarion, right? D'Amelio won?
Mm-hmm. He won at Clarion. He looked good. I mean, Guy looked good.
That guy's name is Guy, G-A-J?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like, it's pronounced G-U-Y?
Yes.
Oh, that's wild.
Wild.
I don't even know what to say about that.
I think D'Amelio was probably pulling a little bit too much weight to make 141 last year, and moving up to 149 will be good for him. Mm-hmm. That being said, Caleb Henson, dog.
But
D'Amelio tough, so I think this one is close. So I'm going Henson by like 2.
Whoa. Yeah, that's not
so
crazy.
I'll get D'Amelio to cover. This one's tough because now, especially with overtime, if this goes to overtime.
Oh, yeah. That's a great
covers
point.
It.
Great point. Yeah, yeah. This is a really tough one. I'm not counting Dylan out in this match. If you're looking for an upset special, a true one, might be this next one, Bryce Andonian and Patty Gallagher.
An all St. Edwards match.
That's right.
Well, if they were high school teammates, I would say this one's going to be a blowout because Andonian likes blowing people out. But it gives me pause that they were high school teammates on who's actually going to win.
What was the score last year? Did they wrestle last year?
No, Bryce didn't wrestle.
Oh, that's right.
Remember he was out till midseason or whatever?
Oh, yeah. He missed a lot of time.
And so he's healthy as far as I know, but he has done pitch count in the past, so I think and I hope we get to see him. But
I'll take Patty covering this.
No way. Give me Andonian.
Give me Erdonian.
Go for it.
For sure.
What do you guys have the line
Picking up
at?
backs.
4.5.
Half.
I'm in on Patty this year.
I'm with you, Christian. I bought Patty Gallagher stock last year when it was a little bit of a rough start for him. I believe in Patty.
What is giving you guys this inclination?
I watch him. I like what I see. I like his game.
But he didn't wrestle anyone even remotely good at the Clarion Open.
Then we'll see.
Well, yeah. But I'm asking you. I'm literally asking you. What did you see that is giving you this inclination? I think that he's going to make a jump because he wrestled a bunch of not so good guys at the Clarion Open, and last season he was 12-11, and didn't really have a good year.
I agree. I agree with all that. I think it looks better. I like his offense. He's got a lot of ways to score. He can hand fight hard.
Okay. All right.
He was getting better too last year. I mean, he was in a lot of competitive matches, and now this year it's a matter of winning those matches.
Yes.
All right.
With him.
I mean, I didn't pick him to win. I picked him to cover.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Okay. Next one, Hunter Kaka, Nick Feldman. He has Feldman a 1.5 point favorite. I'm hammering the Feldman cover here relentlessly.
Yeah. Well, 1.5 just not very many points in the current scoring system, so I'm going to go the same way.
Feldman across the board.
Bunch of Feldmaniacs.
I don't think this is a blowout.
No, I don't either.
I agree.
He only has to win by 2 for this to be a cover. I think it's 1 to 2 takedowns to none, if I had to guess. Kaka's a large person. And
he's a big cat.
And Nick is not the biggest heavyweight. So I think it's competitive. Hunter's also a really good athlete, but I think Feldman's just a touch better. So the team, James has it a 6.5 point favorite for the Hokies.
Oh, I didn't do my math yet. Hold on. I did. Go back and do my math.
I think I'm going Tech.
I don't know. That's kind of a lot of points.
7-0.
I have it 6-4 Tech. It would depend on bonus. And I think the 4, I think there's upset opportunities for Ohio State.
I think where we're most likely to see bonus is probably 41 with Jesse Mendez.
So, Paul Christian, who do you have? Which 4 do you have for Ohio State?
I have 41.
41. 65?
Yes. And 97 and heavy.
Not 84. Sam Fisher's the
I mean,
favorite
I
on
kind
what it
of
says.
sometimes when I do these, it's like, okay, split the difference. I think they're probably both toss-ups, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
84 or 97, I think they get 1. I'm not really sure. I'm not as sure on who Ohio State's going to be using because Jay kind of put it out there that Gavin was going down, but I don't know. And then there's Geog, and then there's the GOAT Andy Smith is involved. Which, hey, also breaking news here.
Whoa.
In our fantasy league, Tyler Meisinger, who's on location,
boots on ground,
proximity to the GOAT, he dropped one of his wrestlers and added Andy Smith. So he likes what he's seeing.
Oh, God.
And I can't blame him. So those are the 4. Are you not seeing 4? I mean, if it's 7-3.
No, I'm actually, I'm thinking actually maybe, I think they could potentially get 5.
Yeah.
And because I think they could get 5, I think I'm going to go Ohio State. So under 6.5 from Virginia Tech.
I agree, actually. I think Ohio State covers this. And, yeah, there is a path for 5 for Ohio State with 41. You know, you could put 49 in that sort of could. It's not beyond the realm. 65 is a possibility. 84, 97, that's the 5, I think. I think the others would be pretty significant upsets for Ohio State to pull them off. What says James?
Be a fun duel to watch.
Yes.
Be a good one.
It's going to be amazing.
I remember, guys, I did this dual meet. It must have been, I think it was Sasso's redshirt freshman season at Ohio State when Mitch Moore stuck him.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I remember
the
that.
Old chin and arm.
Sammy has not had good showings in this duel.
Yeah, because he lost to Henson last year, right?
Yes. Okay, gonna be a great duel. I've got to say, I actually was the only person that got them all right for the pick'ems so far. So we'll see. We'll keep it going. Oh, 25.
Right, so, guys, that was a joke. Just FYI, everyone in 0 for 0.
Thanks. I'm glad you broke that down for him.
Don't worry. Hey, I'm gonna get my. You don't want to acknowledge that I'm the defending champion. I'm gonna make it happen. I got an idea for next week.
Oh boy, he's gonna have Rudis is gonna make him a shirt or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. That's what.
Honestly, you know what?
I got my Peyton Mako shirt on today. I'm ready for it.
Ben, you should get a robe made. You should come out in a robe.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Actually, you know what would actually be cool if you had like a headband made that just said like "Pick'em Champ" on it. That would look cool.
Good too.
You make that face, but it would actually look sick, Ben.
Headbands are great.
Especially with your hair. You have good headband hair.
Yeah, you do.
Great headband hair. Right there.
It kind of emphasizes. So a lot of more action. 125 probably going to be the story again for this week because you've got Ramos versus Camacho.
Oh, yeah.
And Figueroa versus Noto.
It's on the pick'ems.
It's on the pick'em, so let's get to it. I put it out there. Camacho's my pick this year at 125. So I've got him. This guy's got Ramos a 1.5 point favorite. To me, this is simple. If I believe what I say, I'm sticking with Jacob. But there's always the fear of the bounce back.
I'm going rubber band. Bounce back for Ramos. He came back for third after falling in the semis at the Clarion Open.
I love that, by the way. That was awesome to see. Come back and get third. That was great.
I'm going to Camacho.
Camacho, Macho Man. So yeah, I don't know what we'll see. Let's talk about the match a little bit. I think it has the potential to be incredibly exciting.
Oh yeah.
Because of I don't think we'll see as subdued a Ramos as we saw him in the Blaze match. I think that was a little more about familiarity and some of the things where Blaze is really good. And I think Camacho is a pretty active wrestler. He's going to engage. So it could be a really exciting match. And Ramos has that pinning capability for sure and feet to back. And that's something that Camacho's got to be wary of. But I think he'll be ready to go. Any other thoughts on this match, the potential vulnerabilities or whatever, Ben?
No, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think Camacho stays on his legs and kind of avoids some of the big moves.
Yes.
And wins in a grind-out match. A lot of scrambling.
Guys, when was Camacho's first year? I mean, he seems like he's been around a while.
For a while.
1920 was the first year? Not the actual year 1920.
2018, 2019 was his first season. That's when he redshirted.
Yeah, he's been around a while.
Yeah. This is a guy who wins over Jack Mueller, beating a lot of really good guys over the years.
He's very good.
Everyone forgot about him, I think.
And he's Jacob with the
K, ranked,
right?
Listen, I'm not going to yell at our rankers, but I don't understand how he's 8 when you consider his track record. But
I agree.
I'll just let it live. But you look at some of the, the cast of characters ahead of him. I don't know. I just don't. I don't see the resume that would make him behind a Brett Unger.
Move him up.
Or Steve-O.
Big 12 champion Steve-O.
That's fantastic. That's a good accomplishment.
Who's ranked number 1 at 125, guys?
Noto right now.
Not Ramos anymore.
Okay, which was, and it's Kozak. Is it Kozak? Does Kozak do the flow?
Oh, Shane's gonna call Kozak and chew.
Kozak and me.
Come on, that was
what?
Matt Ramos is ranked number 1 in the country.
He was, and then he lost.
He is ranked number 1 in the country.
Oh, Shane, this is embarrassing take. Embarrassing take. Listen, he lost, and then Braden Palmer beat that guy. How can you say that does not have ranking value?
I've always said this, guys. I'm willing to be sold, and Chris, it didn't take you long.
Okay, all right.
I flip-flopped on that one pretty quick.
Hey,
I came in with a lot of bark, and then I kind of whimpered back to the corner. So yeah, you're right. You're right.
Here's how you could have been right, though.
Oh my God, you're so funny.
If Blaze wins that tournament, I think that you do not drop Matt Ramos.
Okay, that's fair.
I think you don't, because for all we know, Blaze is just that guy, and he is that guy. But if he beats everyone else, there's nothing to suggest he wouldn't beat Richard Figueroa and Eddie and Noto, etc. But when you lose and you have that comparison, I think it makes it simple.
Yeah, you're right. Kozak, my apologies. I recant my statement. I was wrong.
Kozak will not forgive you.
I was wrong on that. I was wrong. That's fair.
No one holds a grudge like John.
It is interesting this year because I don't think that match actually counts on the record
at all.
It doesn't. Nope.
So it's technically, weird. Quote unquote speaking, Ramos is still undefeated.
Ramos for Hodge.
And wouldn't that be crazy? Like something like that, guys. Let me ask you this real quick because we got the All-Star Classic coming up.
Yeah.
Don't you how cool would it be if that match counted? And if that match counted, and Flo's done a phenomenal job, which I love, bringing that event back to life to where because we used to love that event 20 years ago. But we got a lot of the hammers going. But if that match counted, I wonder if like more people would really try to get, because that'd be a monster opportunity to wrestle in that event. That'd be great if that match counted. It should.
I think it should count. I don't know. I honestly don't know if it helps. I think they don't have it.
I agree.
I think they don't have it count because
it could hurt.
They're worried guys wouldn't go. I don't know. But I think it should count. I think any reputable rankings organization will count this match. The only ones where it won't count are like for like the NCAA seating, or maybe coaches rank won't count, but coaches just look at ours typically, ours and the other media ones. So it should count. We got to keep it moving because of fire. Number 1 versus number 2. Anthony Noto versus Richard Figueroa. He says pick him. I say Richie Figs, no problem. This is it. Richie Figs will be ranked number 1 come Monday, Tuesday.
Crazy.
I don't think it's crazy. The man
He's
crazy.
Who you got?
I don't know. I never thought about these guys wrestling before.
Never considered the number 1 and number 2 wrestling.
I'm going Figs.
Well, they've only been number 1 and number 2 for like 2 days, so that's too crazy.
I'm going Figueroa, not with as much confidence as CP. I do think Noto is really tough.
I do too.
And if he could make something work on top, I think that's his path to victory, is getting a turn. The 3-point takedown helps Richie Figueroa, though, so I'm going Richie Figueroa.
This is a big match.
Figueroa.
I am a little worried that someone may not send their guy, and that would make me sad. But I've seen it in the past with entities involved. So hopefully we don't see it here. Sitting healthy guys that are able to go, so because I think it would be an awesome match. And I'm riding with the Sun Devil here.
All right.
Gotta help those guys wrestle.
Yeah. Ben, who you got?
I got the same. Figueroa.
Figs across the board. This one is going to kill me because I don't get it.
D'Agostino. Barnett is he's the biggest roller coaster.
No. Wait, what?
What do we call
a lot of these guys they all beat each other up. I mean, you look at the Big Ten with McKee and D'Agostino and Barnett, like those guys are all beating each other up. I mean,
we called the roller coasters guys last year.
Space Mountain.
We had a name for them.
Space Mountain.
Space Mountain.
Space Mountain.
Female Space Mountain.
125 is going to be a Space Mountain weight, I think.
Yes.
I think there is a scenario where Richie could just be a guy that's really just tough the whole year. And I don't know if I'm going to predict anyone to go undefeated here, but I think we're going to see so much.
Oh, I thought we moved on to the next match because the next match was Barnett versus D'Agostino, which is Team All Space Mountain. I thought that's...
Yeah, it is. I'm only looking at this sheet, but it's in the doc. I'm missing that.
Bad.
So this is not the match that's going to kill me.
And this is a Michigan State Open potential final. Both of these guys would have to show up, compete, and, well, maybe they can meet in the semis, but probably meet in the finals.
Didn't D'Agostino win last time?
They have split 2-2 in the past, like in their entire career.
Would you expect anything different?
Yeah,
they've wrestled 4 times, I believe.
Coin flip.
I'll take D'Agostino.
I'll go Barnett.
I'll go.
It is the coin flip though.
I'll go D'Agostino. Just new home. I don't know.
New home. Who dis? All right, this is the one I meant is going to kill me. Not that one. I don't lose any. I don't lose any sleep over the result of D'Agostino and Barnett because those guys can't make up their mind how they're going to perform match to match. So I don't feel bad missing this. This one doesn't make sense to me because in my mind, Dean Hamady should be able to beat Cam Amin, but he cannot do that.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
He can't do it. So, but he can do it. He just hasn't done it, or maybe he can't.
Do it.
You're saying he can't do it.
Dean Hamady struggles with a very specific type of wrestler, and it's one that has good motion. And Cam Amin moves his feet really well, and that's why he can't beat him.
Man, I kind of just want to be different here. I feel like it's the time. And this is an MSU Open
like
potential
4-0
matchup.
now, or
correct?
What is his
3 or
record
4-0. It's 3 or 4.
I think it's like 4. I think it's 4-0.
Man,
Again, this is another potential MSU Open final, which is live on FloWrestling. You can watch it on Saturday. I would be weary of both these guys showing up.
Yeah, me too.
They're kind of getting older, especially the 125 guys too. So,
all right, I'll pick Hamity to troll Tyler Meisinger.
I'm going to mean on the history.
I went mean.
It is the 1.5 does make me nervous though, because I believe he's I believe that he has.
There's been a couple
one by
one-pointers.
one. Yeah, been a couple 1-pointers, I think. So.
I mean, that match, I'm going off of memory, guys. I think Hamity had him last. He might have been up wasn't he up 3-0 at Cliff Keen Arena last year, and then
he got taken out at the end. I thought it was tied, and he tried something stupid. And,
yes,
and,
it was tied, and he beat himself. It was
okay.
Tactically sort of confusing.
And Amin was battling injuries last year, right? I mean, he was banged up. I wonder what his health is like right now.
I don't know.
He was healthy this summer.
Okay.
When I came to visit,
I think he's been battling some injuries. Don't quote me on that, but if he comes in
healthy,
healthy,
hurt his knee.
get some good training in this offseason.
Yeah. I can't remember if that was last year or 2 years ago though.
I've always been. I like both these guys a lot. I like both of them a lot. It's be a good match.
Who do you like more? Who's your favorite? Who's your Shane Sparks?
Gosh, I love how Hamity's just got great athleticism, and Amin can just grind you. I mean, the mat returns, the mat wrestling. I mean, that's what I love about him. He's tough.
Man. Rocky Elam, Jackson Smith. Where could this happen?
Tiger Style invite.
Tiger Style.
Man. There's only 6 teams, so I think
they should hit.
They do they should hit.
2.5.
I believe Elam is 2-0 against him.
He beat him 6-3. No, 1-0. He beat him 6-3 last year. I thought they wrestled earlier as well, though. They didn't. I don't know why, but I thought they wrestled at Tiger Style last year.
I don't remember that one.
I'm locking in Elam.
Man. I will.
Two takedowns to escape, something like that.
It's a ride time.
Jackson Smith's a bad boy. I think he's have a really good year, but I'll take Elam right now. This is kind of a good time to pick someone off, though. You know, this is prime upset territory.
Right.
First big test. It's a way bigger match for Jackson than it probably is for Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In Columbia, though.
Como.
No, it's in Kansas City, actually.
In Kansas City, just like I said.
Kamo. Kamo, as we've come to call it here on the show.
You're funny.
Okay, so hey, can you give a quick programming note? What is live on Flow? We didn't even talk about Journeyman. Penn State's opening their season at Journeyman.
Goodness.
Hopefully, we get these dang pools before the tournament's over, because I want to be able to talk about them before it happens. Because we're going to see. Cornell's there, Penn State's there, a lot of other really good teams involved, and I want to see how it's going to all play out. I think we're going to see a lot of Penn State guys.
Mm-hmm. And that will be pool play on Sunday, the Collegiate Classic. So we don't know exactly, those pools have not been released yet, so we don't know exactly what the matchups will be, potential matchups. It's not a normal bracket where guys are wrestling to the final, but I can guarantee there will be some very good top 10 matchups.
Yeah.
Just with the teams there, it will inevitably happen.
Arizona State's there. Yeah, Frank Pop's done a great job with this event, putting it together.
Yeah, Cornell, NC State, like you said, Penn State, Lehigh, Arizona State, Penn, Army, Pitt. So,
going to be very cool. All right, it's 9:16. We're about to be incinerated. We got to go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back Monday. JD won't be here.
I won't be here. I won't be here Thursday either, actually.
We have a guest star.
Oh, my goodness.
Next
Show
week.
for work, JD.
I know.
Thank you to Shane. Thank you to Ben. Thank you especially to you for tuning in. Hope everyone has a great, great weekend watching some wrestling. I know we will. Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you, Shane.